Yeah, that definitely feels like your path. Like you've been doing this for a long time. And now, over the last year, you're finally getting your shine. You're finally getting a chance to really show what you can do. So I wonder if in that, did you ever feel like you weren't going to get this opportunity to be the champion?
I feel like it was a timing thing. I feel like it was gonna happen, but yeah, I couldn't picture it this way. If I couldn't have pictured it if I wanted to, but it's like I knew I had this vision when I first went to NXT, and I knew that I wanted to rebrand myself. I knew that I wanted to get more opportunity, and I wasn't really that fond of like what I was doing at the moment, and I just didn't think that I was showing my true potential. So I knew there needed to be something, and sometimes you just need to like you need to change a little bit. You need to like evolve a little bit or just have a clean slate or a fresh coat of paint. And like, I felt like I needed that. So, um, I think it all worked out for the best. Of course, in the moment, I was a little bit like taken back, but then I know, like looking back, I'm just so happy that I'm so happy that I went in with such a positive mindset because Savvy says this a lot too. My fiance, he's just very like proud of me in the aspect of like, because he's been through a lot, but of like having that positive mindset and kind of like knowing that this could be something good. Whereas instead of most people would might take that as like a demotion or like or just like, oh, you're going back to NXT, like, oh, like most people would have that attitude of like, or why, and all these questions, and in our business, it's like you don't really get a lot of answers most of the time. Like, if you do your job and you do it well, it's gonna eventually pay off, and I think that goes a long way. So I'm just really happy I went in with such a positive mindset, and I just had this vision, and I knew if I had the right people in my corner and the right people to back me up, that it would be successful, and I'm really grateful for that.
Is there also an aspect of it where you're like, boy, I see how easily it could be taken away from me? Like Sabby was there, and then, a second later, he's not.
Yep.
So are you just like, grateful I still have a spot?
Yeah, yeah, I'm so grateful, and I feel like, everyone's different. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much talent you have, obviously, we've seen that, and it's just some things just don't work out or some things just weren't meant to be, so I am really grateful for that, but, deep down, I knew that I always knew I had this, I always knew I could always get better at it, right? Like everyone, you get better with time, but, you need the opportunity, right? So it's like you can't really show anything if you don't have that opportunity. And if you're just kind of known for being the blonde bombshell or the golden goddess and eye candy or whatever it is, my whole vision of ever since I started in WWE was always, even in NXT back in the day, was like, yeah, I know I look like this and I know it could be intimidating or also like, oh, she's just here for the fame and whatnot, all the, stigmas that I've gotten. But I knew that like my biggest thing was to prove myself in the ring. I knew it was like a Trish Stratus story, like why can't you be hot and still like be able to wrestle, right? Like it's been done before. Like why do I get such like heat or why do I get so much backlash for looking like this? But I knew in the back of my head that like it takes time, respect, you have to kind of gain your respect. You have to put your time in. So I just knew over time eventually it would turn.
So did you have a moment where you were like, I really want to work on this or that? And you going to NXT allowed you more time in the ring or more time in the performance center?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you've seen Raw and SmackDown, obviously. Sometimes you don't get, that much of time in matches. Sometimes they're just, if you're not in a prominent storyline, you're not even on TV, it's not like you lose it, but if you don't have those reps, and I didn't stay in NXT too long when I was first there. Some people do 3, 4, 5 years. I did like 2 years with no wrestling background before that. So, do I wouldn't say I was the greatest wrestler ever, but at the end of the day, like it takes time and reps. So I knew, excuse me, when I went to NXT that I knew by getting those reps and by getting to be able to work with so many different women of like all different backgrounds and the time to be in the ring with them really was going to make a difference and it did.